Hola familia. Welcome to the sixth episode of HBSA Alumni Spotlight. I am your host, Adrian Rodriguez. I'm excited to have my guest here, Llychel Mendez.
Hi, Familia. Hi, Adrian. Thank you so much for inviting me to do this, I would say like a little TED Talk. But yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Llychel, I'm excited. You're on my sixth episode of HBSA Alumni Spotlight.
Yeah, that's exciting. I've seen most of your previous spotlight, and they're pretty good conversations just to learn more about like previous alumni and what they're currently doing. So this is exciting.
Definitely is. Right off the bat, first question, where are you now?
So right now, I'm currently working full-time as a regulatory operation analyst for Goldman Sachs. And what that entitles a little bit more is just that I'm within like Dallas, the security division, and my team handles different activities such as electronic blue sheets, Canadian filing, qualified financial contracts, and basically what I'm focused on is Canadian filing, which entitles any filing that Goldman it does in Canada. So that's what pretty much I handle right now.
That's cool. Awesome. So next question, what were the challenges and obstacles you went through your time at college? Also, what are the three attributes that helped you throughout your college journey?
So I would say that there was a lot of challenges I faced while in college. I am a first generation college student, and I am actually the first one in my family to graduate college. So at home, I wouldn't say I did not have the support. It's just more that my parents in particular did not know how to help me to get through like my college path. So I did started right after I graduated high school. I did started my college career in community college. I was there for actually 3 years. It took me longer than the usual just because as I believe like many of like previous members knew that my sister had to go a very like risky fetal surgery. So I took a year off just to take care of her just because she was like in bed rest pretty much. So it was at the point that either my sister or the baby could like, they could have lost the battle. So that's why I took the year off just to make sure that she was like, taken care of. So that was just more on my side, right? And then after I did earn my associate's degree, I did transfer to UH. And then I pretty much like UH, like I mentioned, it was so hard for me just because like aside from being a first time college student, I'm also a DACA recipient. So, finding an internship could be a little bit hard just because sometimes DACA is not something that many companies can look into. Like, you could be like a US citizen or something like that. So it was a little bit challenging just because I did not know what companies to look into. And then I remember one of the things I had was that they told me like, since you're not born here, you're gonna have more challenges than others. So that was like something that always stuck to me, that I was gonna have a lot of challenges compared to other students. And apart from that, my senior year was a little bit more challenging than any other year. Pretty much like my whole senior year, what was it, fall semester, spring semester, I was pregnant. So that was a little bit more challenging just because I had to manage my pregnancy with all the courses I was taking. And I would say it will be more like the challenging courses, right? And then like actually my last semester, it was just a little bit more lucky on the side, I would say. I did give birth like during like spring break, and then the whole pandemic happened. So I was lucky enough to do like virtual classes because that helped out a lot. And I feel like that was the biggest challenge throughout my college career, trying to manage being a full-time mom and being a full-time student, and just making sure I was doing the best on both things. So yeah, that's a little bit of the challenges, obstacles I faced. And in regards to the three attributes that actually helped me through my college career, I would say that I was always a super determined person, regardless of the obstacle I would face. I just never gave up. If there was a time that I felt like down or something, like, I would just take a day or something. If I needed to cry, I would cry. But other than that, like, I just got up. I knew, like, as a first generation college student, I did came to this country like at a very young age. I was like 4 years old, I would say. So I know my parents did a lot of sacrifices in order for my siblings and I to have a better future. So like, if I felt like down, I would always think of my parents. I want to give them a better future, and just so they wouldn't struggle like later on once they can't work or something like that. I want to be able to like help them out. So I feel like within that, like, my family was always my biggest support. I would say my rock to keep me motivated and like not to give up. But yeah.
Awesome. That's great to hear,
Mhm.
especially having a daughter.
Yeah, thank you.
Next question. Um, how was the transition from college to the real world?
So, I did graduate last May. So it was like whenever we were like in whole quarantine and that. So I did started my professional career virtually until now. Like, I've been working from home. I haven't stepped into the office just because of like at the beginning, the whole cases kept going up. And now like the vaccine is becoming available to everyone. So it wasn't a hard transition, I would say, just because I was lucky enough to intern with the company in 2019. So that kind of gave me an advantage of how everything was going to be. But I would say that everything that I learned within HBSA and within UH, all the courses I took helped me have an easy transition. And it hasn't been as challenging because, we have mentors, we have people just to help you around. And overall, it's been great. I've enjoyed what it's been a little bit more over 8 months since I've been with the company. So I think my whole transition has been good so far. I will be going to office started in the beginning of June, so we'll see how that goes. It might be a little bit different just because half of my team will be working virtually, and then half of my team will be working in the office. So I'm gonna see how that works. But so far, everything has been great. I am managing a full time career, which is, I feel like it hasn't been hard for me just because I pretty much have worked since I graduated college. So that also had a lot to do with becoming like this transition a little bit more easier for me.
Cool. Awesome. Next question. Have you ever had a mentor throughout your college and professional career? And what role did they play in you growing as a person and in your career?
Mhm. So I feel like my whole life, I've always had like mentors and guide me through everything that I do. Just because, like I mentioned, at home I don't have that guidance that I would like to. So I always have to seek for help. And I feel like my very first mentor actually was whenever I was in the seventh grade. My first mentor, this is like was part of a scholarship, right? So we had to write an essay for the scholarship, and I was lucky enough to be one of the 30 students picked for that scholarship. So we had a mentor. I specifically had one mentor that guided me through my whole like middle school, high school, and my college career, that helped me, like know what colleges to apply, what financial aid, what kind of scholarship that were available for me. And then also for my college career, what kind of classes to take, and like, just to make sure that I was having like able to be manage my life, and then just also like my college career. And right now I do have mentors within the company. And those mentors, is just something that we need. Just sometimes we need help just in general. If we want to get promoted, that's something that you can ask your mentor, like, what are the things that you should be doing to get promoted? And what are other things that you should be doing within like your team? And I feel like those mentors in particular have helped me guide it. And like, actually, today I'm here with like Goldman Sachs just because like of those mentors. I would say one of the biggest mentors I've ever had was my seventh grade mentor. Her name is Susie Jones. She was At that time, she was working for Imagi Bank. And I think she was like my biggest motivation as of like why I needed to go to college and in particular why I needed to graduate high school. She's like helping middle school that has like very low like a percentage of people that actually graduate high school. So she kind of put in like how do you say it, like she kind of was like a bet to see how many students actually graduated high school. So she was like my biggest impact within my mentors. Like she helped me guide me through everything. She made sure I graduated high school. You know, in order for you to get that scholarship that I won in seventh grade, I had to graduate college and I had to be able to like attend college. So I feel like that mentor made like the biggest impact in my college career and now in my professional career.
That's great. That's awesome. Next question. What helped you realize to pursue the career you are in now, and when did you realize it?
Okay, so just going a little bit piggybacking on what I just said, my mentor, Susie Jones, was like the biggest impact of like the career I took. You know, she did help low income students, you know, like just students in general that she wanted to make sure like they succeed in the future. So I feel like the fact that she was in business, I knew like since the beginning I wanted to go into business, but not particularly what kind of business, you know. And it was until then like she told me, oh, this is what I do, like what I'm currently working on, and it was just like the biggest thing was that I later on in the future want to be able to like give back to those like communities that are impacted. You know, sometimes like first generation college student example, that will be like my biggest target. So I feel like choosing my career and like what kind of path I wanted to take had to do with me trying to help later on in the future to like low income students and just be able to like give back, you know, just give back to those that just a return, like a gift and a return. You know, there was a lot of people that helped me out through my college career, and I want to make sure that I do the same for other students. So I feel like that is what made me get into the career I am. You know, at the beginning, I didn't know I wanted to go into banking. I think it was just like 3 semesters prior to graduation that I knew, like, okay, I want to go into banking. I want to make sure like that's the career I pursued. And lucky enough, I am in a position that I like my job and I like what I do.
That's great. Next question. If you could have given yourself any piece of advice, what will it be?
I think the piece of advice I would give myself would be to never give up. You know, like there were so many times, for example, when I was trying to get an internship, there were so many companies that rejected me. My biggest, like, you know, the biggest company that I wanted to be with, it was like my dream company, you would say, rejected me more than what, 4 times. So it was like kind of like a shock to me. You know, I felt like I was a qualified student for that position that I was applying in particular, but for some reason I wasn't like a qualified candidate for that company. You know, I think that really put like a step back on in what I was doing. So like that kind of in a way kind of like, you know, brought me down. I didn't want to continue searching for companies within like that industry just because I was like, oh, I'm not a qualified candidate for that, you know. I feel like if I hadn't put that like at the beginning, I would have gotten more opportunities, you know, while in college. But that a piece of advice I was just like to never give up, you know, for a reason. Things happen. I feel like, you know, I believe in that. Because if you don't get something at the beginning, there are greater things waiting for you to accomplish in the future. So that's one of the pieces of advice I will give, like, you know, um, myself, you know, if I was back in college, you know, just to never give up and always keep trying no matter what the circumstances or obstacles might be.
Yeah, I totally agree on that part. Never give up and keep going at it. Definitely agree with you on that. Next question. Well, what was your involvement with HBSA?
I feel like I was pretty much involved with HBSA since I transferred to U of H. You know, my first semester at UH, I was just like more on like the shy, quiet side. You know, I did not know any members or like I remember like one of the officers always pushed me to continue attending events and I would only attend like general meetings. And it was until like the following semester that we had an event that was like, okay, like if you want to get a job, you need to make sure that you're putting in what you want to take out, right? So I started being more involved within HBSA, right? I was an active member, and then I became an intern. I guess now they're called committees, I believe. So I was a intern for CFO, so I kind of got a little bit more of insight of what the CFO like position and title. Because at the beginning I knew like I wanted to run for CFO in the future, right? But it was until like later on that semester I learned more about like what other officers did with their position, and I decided to take on the challenge to run for the corporate relations director. You know, I did ran twice for that position, and it was until like the second time that I got it. So I was pretty involved, you know, with as a corporate relations director. You know, always trying to make sure that we provide um, events that would help our members, you know, get that professional or communication skills that they might need. So yeah, I was corporate relations for a year. And then I feel like being an officer gives you more insight of like all the work that goes in with like all the officers, you know, putting on events for our members. It's like a hard thing, right? It's a challenge that we take on ourselves, but we know like this is a challenge that help us grow within our college career. I feel like if you become like you hold a leadership position, it will help you get that confidence that you need. You know, as an officer, you need to make sure that you're communicating with your members. You know, you have to have like public skills, kind of like skills, like because it requires a lot, you know, talking in front of an audience and your members. So yeah, I would say I was pretty involved with HBSA. Even my last semester, I wanted to continue, you know, being an active member, but due to COVID, like there were so many things that changed. So I wasn't able to like get that last, I would say, glimpse of HBSA events just because of the whole pandemic.
Okay, awesome. Next question. This question is hard. I'm not gonna lie. Um, Even myself as well. So this question is, what was your favorite HBCA memory? There's a lot. I know you have a lot of fun little time they should say.
Yeah.
With the number one, that's the hardest one.
Yeah, that is a hard question, but it's also like a good question, you know, just to think about like everything that you did whenever I was involved in HBSA. I think in general, you know, obviously because of HBSA, I'm in the position I am right now, just being involved. But I would say like in general, my favorite HBSA memory will be, you know, being involved with it with two officer boards. I know for sure, like I have longtime friends, you know, um, those are friends that actually, I think if it wasn't for HBSA, I would have never met those individuals. And, you know, as an officer, you get close to your officer board, right? You are pretty much spending every single day with them. You have to make sure that you communicate with them. So HBSA gave me, like I mentioned, longtime friendships. You know, I have friends that actually were there the day that my daughter was born. So that's something I'm grateful for. You know, they've been in my life for like special occasions, you know, so that is something that I appreciate. So I feel like in general, that would be my favorite HBSA memory. You know, all of them are just great individuals that had helped me, you know, whenever I was pregnant, pretty much only like a certain amount of people knew. So, and all the struggles that I was going through, and it was just more like afraid of being judged, you know, of course, like I'm pregnant, I'm still in college, you know, but I feel like having that support system, whenever I was in school, helped me get through everything. So just in general, I would say like the friendships that I made are my favorite HBSA memories. You know, every single moment I spent with them, like while hosting events or preparing for an event or just making sure that we communicate, on our officer meetings and stuff like that. I feel like that was my favorite HBSA memory.
Yeah, I totally agree about the friendships, long-term friendships with your office board, especially me being an officer, this semester and like throughout the semester, like that friendship grow with like 12 other individuals. I
Yeah,
can
and
see
I
that.
feel like in general, it is important to get along with your officer board just because like you're communicating with that, you have to make sure that you guys are on the same page. So yeah, it's definitely something that I appreciate, and HBSA gave that to me.
This month is May, so that means graduation.
Hmm.
So my question to you is like, what were the lessons you learned from your time at U of H?
The lessons in general, it being in college, um, was a hard, just hard for most of the time. I was working a full time. Sometimes I was working 50 hours a week trying to be a full time student. That takes a lot of energy. I feel like college taught me like a lot of things that I did not know like I could do. I mentioned like I still a very shy person. There's times that I just want to stay within my bubble and not like explore other things, right? If I find something like my comfort, like I'll kind of stay there. But I feel like while being in college, that also kind of back important to always step outside your box just to make sure that you're not missing out on any other opportunities. So that is something just taught me, if it wasn't for me trying to get step out of my comfort zone, I wouldn't be able to like speak to professionals. I never knew like how to like start a conversation with a recruiter. So that is something I learned while being in college, just making sure like how to communicate with others. And that kind of like now in my professional career has helped me out a lot too, right? Because being virtually, you have to make sure you're communicating, like I would say proactively with either your teammates or like your managers and stuff like that. Just because you want to make sure that you're getting the right message. Sometimes like um, like I mentioned, I would be the type of person that, how they ask, would you rather call or text? I was that person that would always text. I would never pick up the phone and, like start a conversation. But now, like, that's something that I learned, you have to make sure that you're taking a little bit of risk in order for you to succeed, I would say. So now it's just like picking up the phone. If there's something that you need to handle, just making sure that that message is getting the message that you want to get through is getting out correctly. So yeah, like college I feel like taught me a lot of like things I never knew I will be doing, like such as like communication, making sure that you knew how to talk, what to talk about, and how to start conversation. That is something that I feel like I learned, and I feel like till today I'm still learning.
Great, awesome. Yeah, last question. What is your message to the members?
So to the members, I would say, I feel going into next semester, it would be a little bit more challenging. I feel like I'm not sure, how the member base looks right now, but I feel like your member base will be more of like newer members, most of the members that haven't had the opportunity to participate in an in-person event. So, it could be a little bit different compared to virtual events. So I feel like my message to the members will be to always make sure like HBSA provides these events in order for you to take advantage. If you're not really putting into what you want to get out, there's not much that you can really do. HBSA hosting events for you to learn how to talk to a recruiter, how to write an email. So just making sure that all of you guys are taking advantage of these events. The officer board in general puts a lot of time and effort to make sure that these events are being executed like how they want to. So make sure that you all attend the events, One of the things, if you get rejected for a company that you wanted to work for, don't give up. It doesn't matter where you start, but where you end. You can start in a small company, and then later on, you're going to get skills that you can use for later on in the future. If you want to, like, do a career switch, you'll be able to, like, apply again to that company that you wanted to work for. So it doesn't matter where you start, but where you end. And make sure that you're always giving up your, I would say, 110% at everything you do. You're in college. Most of us are in college one time, if we're like going for our bachelor's. And you have to make sure that you're making not only, you're not just going to your classes in general, just making sure you're taking advantage of everything, not only like the organization that you're involved, but also like the events that the university provides. At the end of the day, this is a point in our lives, in your life, that you pretty much want to make sure that you have great memories. Later on, you're going to have kids, and you want to make sure, like, oh, while I was in college, I did all of this. Make sure that you, just in general, don't give up. Make sure that you're always giving up your 110%. And, as I mentioned, it doesn't matter where you start, but where you end. So, yeah, that's something I would tell the members.
Llychel, thank you so much for being my sixth guest for the HBSA Alumni Spotlight. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Adrian. Thank you for inviting me. And I've seen a lot of growth in you personally. I feel like I've known you since I started college in particular. And you've done an amazing job. And a alumni position is something that you wanted. And you're a great example. You never gave up on what you wanted to do. So yeah, I'm actually so proud of everything that you accomplished, and yeah, good luck in your future development and career. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Llychel. That's all, familia. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.